Okay, I think we're now live to the world. So, hi everyone, wherever you're watching, whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening. Really excited to be your host for this really exciting stream. Sorry for the feedback. So, yeah, we are here today. I'm from CrowdSec. We've got Lawrence from CrowdSec as well, and Aidan, and we're joined by the team from Cyber Info. So, Cyber Info is an organisation with a mission, really to empower any individual with easy access to cybersecurity education, which obviously really aligns with CrowdSec's mission, trying to outnumber cyber criminals altogether. They've got a really good community of cyber enthusiasts who are hopefully joining us today. As I say, we've got a really good lineup. So Aaron and Juan from Cyber Info, they're going to kick things off in a minute by basically giving you a taste of what their organization is about and what their mission is. And then Lawrence will then dive into a demo and a bit of an explainer about CrowdSec and how you can get started with our open source security solution. And then for the final section, we will leave some time for Q&A. So if you have any questions during the live stream, please leave them in the YouTube chat and we'll get to those at the end. But to kick things off, we'll all introduce ourselves. So as I've said, I'm Jack. I'm the community manager at CrowdSec. So that really means I get to spend a lot of time collaborating with some really awesome communities like the Cyber Info one, who we've got with us today. And then I'll pass the mic over to Lawrence, who will then introduce himself. And Lawrence, if you want to then pick the next person after that.
Yeah, so I'm guessing you can all hear me. It's not like looking for the nods. Yeah. So my name's Lawrence. I'm head of professional services here at CrowdSec. So that pretty much entails that onboarding new clients, helping the community, and making sure everything goes smoothly on a day-to-day basis. So that's my role. I'll pick on Aidan next then.
Hi, I'm Aidan. You probably see me on Discord quite a lot. I help manage Discord massively, and I'm a CrowdSec ambassador. And Juan?
Howdy, y'all. I'm Juan. I'm with Cyber Info team, executive vice president of operations and engineering. So I deal a lot with the day-to-day stuff and getting all our technology platforms in a row as we get our educational platforms out. And I'll throw it over to Aaron.
Yeah. Man, I forgot how big that title is, but I'm obviously, as you see the thing, Aaron, I'm the president, founder of Cyber Info. So I deal day to day, manage volunteers, basically everything. And it's fun. It's a lot, but it's fun.
Yeah, I can imagine. Keeps you busy. So that is all of us, and we will have Thibaut, who's the CrowdSec CTO. He's going to join us for the Q&A portion at the end. But for now, I'm going to remove the CrowdSec team from the stage, and I will pass over to you, Aaron and Juan, to give a bit of an introduction to Cyber Info.
Sure, sounds good. Alrighty, man, where to begin? So I guess we should just go back to the beginning. So, Cyber Info initially was kind of a community that I envisioned way before it became a nonprofit, just a little place where, security enthusiasts could come together and be like, oh, hey, let's talk about stuff or learn something new, whatever the case may be. And then Juan came to me and said, hey, we have a lot of potential here to have a wider impact and, take our expertise and experience and our drive to help people and just take it to the next level as a nonprofit. So I was like, well, hey, if you want to do the business side of that, because I don't know anything about that, he took off with that, was able to really make it happen. And so, as we've gone on, we've had a fantastic community. We have some wonderful projects in the works that we hope, ideally will be have a very positive impact. Just to the world around us and helping people break into the industry. Oh, Juan, do you have anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, really. It's just us combining our passions and helping people out in the way we already do in our personal lives, turning that into, hey, we have a community here. Why not pour all the effort we already expend, just helping our friends out, helping the community out, taking it to the next level with a nonprofit. That was the logical next step for us. And we're going to keep innovating, keep bringing some really cool stuff on this year's roadmap with Cyber Courses, our career enablement platform that's coming up. Lots of exciting things at Cyber Info, lots of moving parts, and really just looking forward to help the community that's made our lives what it is. Giving back is always fun.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I'll add a little bit too into what we were talking about there with cyber courses. I'm super excited about it because we I always tell this story because I think it's so relevant. We have a phone number. People can call us if they want. Famous last words. Someone's going to spam the heck out of it now. But I frequently would get calls, or I still get calls where people are like, "There's just so much information out there. Where do I start? I don't know where to begin. And then how do I filter through the good stuff and the bad stuff?" So we envisioned cyber courses to be kind of the answer to that, where despite its name at the beginning, it's going to be content curation. We're not going to be creating the content. There's already a lot of good stuff out there, but we want to provide resources for people who are in the industry who just want a consolidated place where they can find good information, but more importantly too, the new people who go, wow, they start looking around like, hey, this is interesting to me. There's so much stuff flooding me from all angles, and I don't know where to begin. What's good? What's bad? And that's where we can come in with our industry expertise, as well as the community expertise. Because some people might say, "Hey, yeah, this is a good resource, maybe not." And we can create a positive discourse around figuring out what are the right steps, general steps, because everyone's journey is different, but the right general steps where people can take, their first steps into getting into the industry. And that's what we ultimately want to do with cyber courses. And fingers crossed, if we can execute that well and make it a good experience, we really want to see it have a positive impact on as many people as possible. And I think we can do that. I think if we do it right, we can definitely do that. So exciting stuff for sure.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Oh yeah. I think that's really it for our intro, Jack. I know we're scheduled for few minutes, but
no, that was perfect. And yeah, just to echo what you said, obviously CrowdSec have put quite a big time investment in our own learning academy. So for anyone that isn't familiar, we've got CrowdSec Academy, which provides free training courses, obviously on CrowdSec, but also wider security topics, which are especially good for organizations that want kind of free end user training that kind of encompasses everything people should be looking out for. So thank you guys, and I'll remove you both from the stage, and I'll bring up Lawrence, who will give you a brief explanation of what CrowdSec is, and then, as I said at the start, how you can start using our open source engine. So thank you guys, and Lawrence, I will hand over to you.
Awesome. So hello everybody. So straight into it. Okay. If you don't know what CrowdSec is, so we're a open source maintainer of a project. What the project basically does is that it can scan through your logs and it can basically detect malicious IPs. However, obviously fighting your own battles and like only seeing what things are happening on your box is you're always going to get outnumbered. So we have another component side of it, which is basically like signal sharing aspect. So everyone in the CrowdSec community, once it detects a malicious IP, it shares the signals to us, and then basically we can curate that data through the system, and we can basically see patterns of attacks. So now if we jump straight into it, I'm not the one controlling. I have to like cue Jack to press the buttons. This is a box that I've spun up just before the event. So if I just do uptime, you can see it's only been running since like 2:10, which is local time to me is now. So what this is just a server that's running just basic services. So you can think like if you're a business, you may be hosting like a website or hosting some sort of like VPN access into your infrastructure. However, if I just go and take a look at my kernel log, you can see that this service is getting hit by a lot of IP addresses. They're just trying to obviously scan and enumerate what services my box is running. But I don't really have anything on here, but This is obviously just for the demo use case. I won't be able to show this just because the share screen on Restream only allows you to show one screen at a time. However, we have docs.crowdsec.net, and on there we promote a installation link that looks something like this. So it's basically a kill request to a bash script that we have, which will basically ease the onboarding for you to get the software package installed. So if I just run that, what it will do is it will go to our package cloud repository. It will download the sources list and it will basically install it. So now if I do apt install CrowdSec, which I'm running Debian, that's why I'm using the apt package manager. If I do this now, it will pick up the software and then start installing it. When it is installing it, it will go through a phase that we like to call service discovery. And in short, what service discovery does is it will go out and scan your local services, hence the name, and find which ones that we can protect. So on this box, I'm running Nginx, like I said, the web server. And because it's a Linux box, it's running SSH like every single Linux box is, so you can get access to the terminal. But what does that mean in practice? So if I run CSCLI metrics, you can see here now that it's picked up the files that I showed you before. However, it's trying to scan through those and pick them up and see if there's any malicious activities. So to save some time, because obviously I can't guarantee that someone's going to be attacking this box whilst we're on the workshop, is I have a secondary server that I just spun up at the same time as the other one. And on this one, I can basically simulate attacks from it. So if I just show you the alias commands, I'll be typing in like SSH brute force, but in short, it's just using a word list generation from seclists just to go and attack it. So if I type in SSH brute force and I go and grab the IP address of this box, just a warning, because I've done this before and people have done it. If you go and attack this box and I go to show the decisions, I'm not liable for showing your IP address. Just keep that in mind. So if I do SSH root and the IP address, what this will do now is it will go and then tap the box and try and guess the password for the root user, which is the standard de facto high privileged user. If I now type in CSCLI decisions list, if I'm not hit by the curse of demo environments, I should now see that I have a 167, which is the IP address of this machine, just to prove you. So 167 all the way up to 126, you can see it's exactly the same IP. So CrowdSec has gone through the logs. So if I show you metrics again, so it has gone through the authentication logs. It's passed 59 of them. And basically it's poured those to what we call buckets, but they're just scenarios. And it's basically issued a ban request on this IP. However, just to show you, I don't have any enforcement of the decisions that CrowdSec makes. So when we built CrowdSec initially, we understood that a lot of people will want to remediate in different locations. So for example, you might have a service which is behind a firewall, but that firewall is not where you want to scan your logs from, but you want to scan your logs actually on the machine behind the firewall itself. So you can install the component which drives the enforcement on a different machine. However, for this workshop purposes, there's only one machine that's attacking and one machine that's defending. So if I now type in SSH, well, if I bring up my previous command and I try to connect to the box, you'll see I'll get offered the key encryption like you always do. If I cancel this out now, and if I just do apt install CrowdSec firewall bouncer IB tables, it's a really long name, and go and install this software package. What this software package does in short is it will go and grab the decisions from the CrowdSec that's running locally, and say, hey, what should I block? And it's given the list. And when we type iptables-l, you'll see at the very, very top, there is this drop command, which basically says, if it matches anything in this CrowdSec list, just drop it before I even consider accepting it on any stage. So if I head back to my attacking box, you saw here when I did the SSH command before, I got offered the fingerprint, the key encryption. However, if I run it again now, you'll see I'm just hanging there. There's nothing coming back to me. So pretty easy. It like 2 commands, 2 software packages installed, and that's it. It detects the block, and it's already like preventing the IP address from reconnecting again. But SSH, we've always known for a very long time that it's something that's commonly attacked. There's like whole botnets out there that just go and try and guess easy passwords all the time. So because we built the engine itself to detect malicious behaviors, there is a few additional things that we can do with those. That's why I've installed the web server component. So if I just go back to my defending instance, and I'm just going to remove the decision that's against my IP address. So, sorry if you can hear my keyboard and my AMSR. So let me just double check that those are deleted. And when you delete or add an IP address, there is a couple of seconds overlap because it's an API in the background. So if I just wait a couple of seconds and try and connect, now you can see I've regained connection. I've got the key encryption back. But some of the behaviors that are really hard for other software vendors to detect is like the actual user level behavior. So let's say a user that goes to an e-commerce store and they've added a product to the cart and checked out within 2 seconds. Well, I don't know about you, but when I go to a shop, I want to at least check the price before I add a product to my cart. But obviously, that's normally what happens in scalping scenarios. They already know where the product is. They already know how to click the buttons, and they obviously just try and guess it as quick as possible. So we have this another alias called CVE scan. What this does is use a product called Nikto, if you've ever heard of it, and it basically checks for common vulnerabilities. So I just alias it so people actually know what the CVE scan does. So I'm going to do CVE scan, type in HTTP, and I'm just going to go back and grab the IP address again because I can't ever remember it off the top of my head. And what this will do now is it will try and like SQL inject. It will try to see if there's any vulnerabilities on the Nginx version that's running there because it can see from the headers that it knows that it's Nginx. And it will go and do a whole bunch of nasty stuff. When I now go CSI list, you'll now see that it's found out that it's trying to do sensitive file scanning. And in short, if I go look at the alerts under the hood, you'll see that all these ones are basically triggered from my box. And if I do CSCLI alerts inspect, number 5 with the details, you can see that we get all of these interesting information. So I was looking for a passwd file, a batch script, and these are the things that obviously bots and everything out there will try to do is try and find like a HT password file that you've accidentally leaked. Awesome. So for many people, for me in particular, I'm a nerd. I liked working in the terminal quite a lot. So we've worked on a SaaS component of our software. So I'm just going to switch screens to the SaaS. So you'll see me big and beautiful on the middle of the screen for 1 second. And then if I go here and hit this to this, I think it's just taking 1 second to show up. Is it going to work? It should now show up, Jack. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So in many enterprise organizations, as well as users, obviously it's as pretty as the terminal is, there's only so much contextualized information that you can show on them. So we basically built this SaaS platform that you can enroll those security engines into the platform, and you can then see those alerts that you see locally when I did CLI decisions list and alerts list. So let's just enroll that software in. You won't see the actual enrollment itself, but it's pretty much copy and pasting that command you saw at the bottom, pasting it into your terminal, and it will show up in the console. So if I now hit refresh, you'll now see that the security engine that I've been working with is now ready to be enrolled. So I'll just accept the enrollment. Once the enrollment is accepted, you then need to restart the software locally. Again, because we can only share one screen at a time, I'm just going to do this in the back end while you're seeing the nice pretty SaaS on the front end. Okay, and okay, awesome. So now you should be able to see the new engine that I just enrolled. And currently what it's doing here is it's going back and it's fetching all of the alerts that I had previously. Obviously, because this is a new engine, there's not many alerts to show. So if I click on there, you'll see the ones that happened recently. So this is obviously me, my Netherlands DigitalOcean going out and doing those things. And this is everything that my local security engine has sold. However, with the account that you get on app.crowdsec.net, we have some really great features that you can get included in the free account. So if we head over to block lists, because my this dummy organization that I have just for the workshops is enterprise, but I'll focus on the free stuff for now. So we have a bunch of block lists that we curate across the internet. So you may have heard some of these names like OTX and Firehole. And we basically curate their block lists and allow you to digest the feeds through your security engine, as well as having them on a new feature that we've just released called integrations. So I'll focus on the security engine and I'll show you the integrations afterwards. So let's say my business is only in the UK and we're an e-commerce business. So anything that comes off the Tor network is not really something that we'll be receiving orders from. So if I go to subscribe on the Tor block list, we get a information page which is showing us basically the contents of those lists. So you can see, because Tor endpoints and exit nodes change very frequently, that we have our last 2 days and last month, the percentage is quite high. And this is the type of attacks that we've basically been seeing from the Tor network. So a lot of obviously HTTP traffic, because that's what people use Tor for, is to obviously anonymize themselves. So anything that they do won't obviously be traced back to themselves. So let's say my security engine, I don't want these Tor endpoints to be able to get to whatever service I am protecting. So we can just click Add Security Engine. It will show my only security engine that I've got enrolled. And let's say I want to ban these IP addresses. I don't want them anywhere near my services. And clicking the button, and that is as simple as it is. Now, when we go to fetch the community block list, it will also now download the Tor block list included, and it setup that we have currently, it will stop any sort of those IP addresses interacting with our services. Now you can see directly below is the integrations part. So included with the free plan, you can have up to I think it's 10 integrations. I can't remember off the top of my head. But basically, what an integration is a way for you to feed your firewall directly from the feed without having to need a security engine. So I'll hop over to the integrations page. So you can see I've been playing around with this and trying to break it, obviously. And if we go add integration, you see that these are the types of formats that we support. So we support Cisco, which is normally Meraki, Checkpoint, F5, Fortinet, Palo Alto, and we call the last one generic vendor. But this is like your OpenSense and pfSense if you run any of those services at home. So if I just click generic vendor, it will ask you to give it a name. So if I do like my OpenSense at location 01, whatever you want to call it, create this. We won't leak any details here, but basically this is a way for you to get the content, and you have to use this username and password inside your integrations page. I won't show you those. And then you can basically configure a block list against this OpenSense location 01. So add a new block list. I'll go back down to that tour list again. If I've probably scrolled past it because it's here. And then we can basically subscribe that OpenSense installation to that list. Off the back of our network effect is obviously we get a lot of CTI data. So if you head into the CrowdSec Threat Intelligence page, you will be presented with a search bar. We've recently upgraded the search bar to allow you to do more complex queries. So you could basically do malicious IPs in France. We're a French company, so we're happy to use this as a default standard. So if we click on the malicious IPs in France, it will take a few seconds, and it will basically show you a list of IP addresses that are located in France that have the reputation of malicious IP. So if I click on this first one and just give you a quick debrief of what you see here. So the known for at the very top is basically the types of attacks that this IP address has done. And we provide the meta techniques of what they are doing. So there's like brute force, they're actively scanning for services, they're doing a little bit of denial of service, but it's most likely that, it's on OVH. So it's probably a IP address that's just been given to somebody and they're just attacking things willy-nilly, basically. If I scroll down a little bit more, you can see that we can make sure that this IP address is not a false positive because it's included with Firehole. It's included in our base intelligence list, and it's in the high background noise list. Just to give you context of what background noise is. So background noise is the scoring system that we use for an IP address. That, let's say you rent a new IP, but you only use that IP address to attack a couple of organizations. That means your background noise score will be very, very low. But if you, let's say, rent from a botnet or someone who's offering a proxy as a service, those IP addresses might have a higher background noise score because they've been used for nefarious stuff in the past. So in this context of this IP address, it's very noisy, which normally means it's in the high tens. And it's just basically attacking everything on the internet. So it's most likely that you could just block this IP address and be confident that it shouldn't be something that's interacting with your services. Scrolling past it, we can see that the classifications that we've gave to this IP is that it's got dangerous service exposed, like VNC, Telnet, and RDP. So it's pointing to the fact that it could be an IP address which is being used as a proxy node or being sold as a proxy to users. And yeah, just keep going on. The top targeted countries is US and Germany. But since this IP address is being used as a proxy, it's highly likely that it's not actually the originating IP address of the user itself. Awesome. I think that is mostly like the quick, I say quick TLDR. I think I've been going for like 20 minutes, but but that is everything that CrowdSec can offer.
we're right on time. So I'm going to bring everyone back to the stage, including Tebow. So we're now going to kick off the Q&A. So there's a couple of questions that I'm going to field to you guys, and then for anyone watching, as you've seen on our various stickers on the stream, if you've got any questions, add them to the chat or the Cyber Info Discord or the CrowdSec Discord, and we will answer them. So first up, I want to go back to Cyber Info and learn a bit more about you guys. So Aaron and Juan, this one will come your way. So how does Cyber Info actually help individuals get started in the world of cybersecurity?
Oh yeah, and that's the the drive for kind of why Cyber Info is. That's a great question. The biggest thing right now, like at this current moment, is giving them access to by way of our community, industry professionals such as myself, Juan, and others who are in there, where they can ask. Instead of having to Google it, they can ask someone who actually works there. Hey, what are the qualifications that make me that would make me a desirable candidate? What are some tips and tricks for interviews? How do I sell myself in an interview? Those little things that we can help with and answer, and especially because everyone's journey is different. Everyone has different experiences, motives, drives, and they want to do different things. So we can help them really figure that out. Maybe hone what they want to do a little bit more, and then give them some steps forward. Like this, generally speaking, like this is what you should do or what you can work towards to get there.
Off the back of that, I guess a follow-up question from me would be, what kind of help or what kind of resources do you provide for people getting into cybersecurity? Specifically, anything around kind of like offers of certification or anything like that, really?
Yeah, definitely. So I'll tell you what, at some point I would love it if Cyber Info, like if we could have like a certification or something like that, that would be awesome. But we like to show people kind of a path forward. I mean, obviously, like I said, and one of the big things that I like to tell people is get hands-on experience with it, understand what you're actually doing, and that's partly where CrowdSec comes into play. But I always tell people, go on Try Hack Me, go on Hack the Box. Hack the Box has a great academy. Try Hack Me is a great platform for just getting in there and trying things, kind of in a hand-holdy way, not in a bad way, but kind of have your hand held through some of the easier stuff, so you can figure out, is this something I even want to do? And that's where I really like to see CrowdSec come into play. Is I always tell people, build a home lab. And put it on your resume, because that turns heads. If I'm looking through candidates and I see this person has a home lab, they're running Kubernetes, they're doing this, they have a honeypot, they're doing their own threat intel or something like that, and they have CrowdSec, it's like, oh, this is all immediately at the top of the pile, because this person cares, this person wants to do stuff. So and that's, as you just demoed, CrowdSec has those the free platform where they can run something on their home lab, learn something new as far as securing a box and all that, but also just understand the realities of the internet. Like what Lawrence was showing, there's always stuff scanning. I don't think a lot of people understand that, so it's good to see that, build a home lab, all that fun stuff.
Very cool. So I've got Tebow. I think this one will come to you. So Tebow is our co-founder and our CTO. So you've probably seen CrowdSec deployed in a lot of weird and wonderful places. So the question for you is, what is the strangest use of CrowdSec that you think you've seen?
That's a good question. I think the strangest things I've seen is people that were using CrowdSec, where instead of banning IPs, they were trying to identify compromised phone accounts internally. And instead of banning IPs, they will disable phone accounts when they were compromised, so that they are not used, to call, I would say, paying phone numbers to siphon money out. So I think it was one of the most creative stuff I've seen. Yeah,
I can imagine. And then off the back of what Aaron was saying, for anyone of the CrowdSec crew, it doesn't have to be Tebow. As Aaron mentioned, obviously showing skills and things is fundamental for trying to get a step in the door in cybersecurity. So how would CrowdSec actually, how would installing CrowdSec on a user's home lab actually help them professionally in terms of obviously skills they'd have to learn to install CrowdSec, if any, anything like that?
If I may, I think for beginners, what is very interesting is to see how to have an occasion, yes, to discover what you don't see otherwise, because it's prettier that you spend your day staring at your server logs or SSH logs, and then it's like discovering with scenarios, etc. Like as I think it's Aaron that was speaking about it, the amount of actually people that are probing the internet on a daily basis, and when you see new vulnerabilities popping out, like for example, this morning there's some vulnerabilities on PHP popping out on Windows, and like how long do you think before people are going to try to exploit it at a massive scale? So I think this may be what is the most eye-opening, and then it's like looking into those IP, looking at the threat intelligence data, seeing like, wait, why is this IP scanning the whole internet for the past 2 years non-stop, and why isn't anybody doing anything about it, and so on?
And then we've got time. I think we've got time for a couple more questions. And just a reminder for any of you that are watching that want to learn more about Cyber Info and how you can make the most of their resources, or by the same token, how you can get started with CrowdSec. Just a reminder, feel free to add some to the chat. But this question, I think, will come your way, Cyber Info guys. So Juan or Aaron, whoever fancies it. What are some of the challenges or some of the common challenges that you've seen individuals face as they're trying to kind of get a foot into the professional world of cybersecurity? And then the follow-up to that would be, how has Cyber Info kind of helped these people overcome those challenges?
I can take this one. So we get people coming in every day, basically asking us tell me how to get to this place. They have an end goal in mind. How do I get here? But there's a lot of challenges with that specific question, because one, they usually don't know where they want to go. They want to be in cybersecurity, but that's such a wide area. And then, of course, if you just go out there and Google resources, you're going to get so much stuff that you may or may not actually care about, or may not actually need to know. So what we like to do is help people get to find those resources that'll actually make a meaningful impact and break those goals down, so they can take their steps. We're not about, right now we don't have much content creation. We're all about content curation at Cyber Info. So helping people basically learn how to Google the right things. Because if you're looking down the completely wrong path, you're going to be spending a lot of energy, feel like you're not making a lot of progress. So we're all about, especially on Discord, we're always available. People have questions about how to get to where they want to be. That's what we're here to do. We're here to help.
Yeah.
And sorry, Aaron.
No. I was gonna add on to that a little bit too, like with the specific challenges that I think a lot of people that I've seen, because it's a tough market right now, where even very talented people have a hard time finding a job. So I think the biggest thing that I see a lot of people struggle with is how do I break through that noise of being, having my application in the pile alongside a bunch of other people. And it's hard to deal with. And I tell people, you need to find a way to set yourself apart and make people go, damn, we need to hire this guy. And that's different for every single person. And I think that's why a lot of people have trouble, is because it's hard to figure that out, find out what is the thing that I like to do that I'm good at, and then how do I leverage that to show myself as being just a powerhouse of a user, make people, like I said, make them go, dang, we need to hire this guy. That's probably the biggest thing.
And I think that's going to lead me nicely onto my final question for all of you guys. So I think anyone that's watching this that's brand new to the industry, they might be studying various different courses within cybersecurity. So my final question, maybe if you all take like 10 seconds to answer it, how did you first get into cybersecurity? So I will, I don't like putting anyone on the spot, but I will put one of you on the spot. Lawrence, how did you first get into cybersecurity?
So I really like to develop stuff. So I started developing stuff, and then I was like, hey, this reminds me of stuff that we have at my own company. I was like, what if I just do this thing that I've been told is not possible to do? And then it's like, whoa, okay, there's vulnerability there. So you report it, and then it goes up, and then you just kind of like start digging down the weeds and just keep going in. And then, then I switched roles, and then it's like, that's how I got my foot in the door with cybersecurity. Then I went down the dev path. I did solely dev, and then I was like, well, CrowdSec's looking for a support person, so that's how I got involved with CrowdSec, and then
the rest
this is where I am in the rest of history.
Nice one. Aidan, what about you? How did you first get into this?
I mean, the best one is get chucked in the deep end. you either sink or you float. Like so we had an incident at my old job where something happened, and unfortunately, no one else had any idea on how to do it. So you either learn or they stay. So we had to learn the hard way and how to patch a lot of issues when I first joined the company. So I had to learn by mistakes, unfortunately.
Good way to learn, though, arguably.
Is it? Wish it didn't happen, though.
Yeah. And then Juan, how about you? How did you first get into it?
Oh man, so back in the day, in like the middle school days, you're out here hosting Minecraft servers with all your friends, right? And the last thing you want is to be the person that all your friends are like, oh yeah, we could just go buy one, have it up in 5 seconds. I'm over here running Linux, spending way too long setting everything up just for it to get pwned like a few days later.
Yeah.
And then you don't like that to happen. So that takes you down a rabbit hole of how do I make this never happen again? And then you realize, wait, there's an entire industry about this.
Nice. Thibaut, how about you? So obviously you are very experienced. You came up with the concept of CrowdSec, so I'm sure people would love to hear from the genius himself.
Well, no, it's when I was learning C, the language, and there's a lot of memory-related issues. So you keep making your program crash, and then you look a bit more into it, and then you discover that, wait, when I crash, I can then rewrite some part of the instructions that is going to allow you to control the program flow, and then you discover frag, and from one thing to another, you spend your night looking at source code and writing exploits, and then you discover later on that it's actually a job, which was not in my plan initially. I was planning to do video game development. So.
Love that. And then last but by no means least, Aaron, how did you get into this world?
Oh man. I think I have a similar story to a lot of the I guess the hacker man stereotype, if you will. But when I was a kid, my father was the program manager for the implementation of public key infrastructure for the Marine Corps. So he had a fair idea of the dangers of the internet and all that. So he did what he thought, as any good parent should do, protect me from the internet. And so I was in basically a 12-year capture the flag CTF back and forth, trying to subvert every technical security control that he would put in place. So, hey, can you type in this password so I can do this thing for school? And there was a keylogger running. It was it was like me trying to figure out a way to play Team Fortress. was the driving factor for me subverting whatever he put in place. And so after that I was like, man, this was a lot of fun. It's like getting there, that exhilarating feeling of I win.
The satisfaction of sorting it all out. Very cool.
Oh, yeah.
Well, guys, we are actually perfectly on time for once, so we're just coming up to the end of the stream. Just as a reminder, if anyone wants to learn about Cyber Info and a bit more about their mission, you can head to cyber.info. And then likewise, anyone that doesn't already know CrowdSec that wants to start using our free and open source security solution, you can head to crowdsec.net to get started. And I just want to thank all of you for giving the audience a really insightful presentation, a bit more about your experience. So thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Al.
Thank you very much.
Bye.